My name's Ted Diebold, and I live in Torrington, Wyoming at the present. However, when I joined the Navy, I enlisted at Pueblo, Colorado. I graduated from Crowley County High School, which is 50 to 60 miles east of Pueblo, but I had to go to Pueblo because we're too small to have a enlistment center.
All right, sir. What unit were you attached to during your time, sir?
Well, right out of boot camp, I was attached to the USS Pine Island. It was a seaplane tender, AV-12, and I got aboard it just in time to hear the stories of where they'd been. But I had the misfortune of helping put it out of commission in Bremerton, Washington. So after that, I was assigned to the USS Ticonderoga, which is an aircraft carrier, CVA-14, which was a leftover from the World War II. And then my campaign years was 68 and 69 off the coast of North Vietnam, where we ran bombing raids to Hanoi and other places like that. Okay. I also, after that, I was involved with the USS Pueblo incident, if you remember that or ever heard of it, and the U-2 spy plane, also in 68 and 69, which brings me to my little long underwear story.
If you'd like to share that, sir, we'd love to hear it.
We could. See, as a Colorado boy and a guy who lived close to the mountains and we had harsh winters, I always thought it would be nice to carry my long underwear with me. Even though I served in Vietnam and San Diego and places like that, I always carried my long underwear with me. So when they captured the USS Pueblo, along around February or so, we were detached from North Vietnam up to North Korea because we were thinking about going in and sinking the Pueblo at the pier with our bombers and whatnot. So I was the only one with a pair of long-handled long johns on board. I donned them when we went to cold waters. Before that, everybody laughed at me, but I got the end of the joke, you know, later on.
That's a funny story. That's awesome, sir. So, for people who might not know what the USS Pueblo incident is, sir, could you go ahead and...
Sure. The USS Pueblo basically was a kind of like a old tugboat mine trawler type thing that they converted into high intelligent radio communications and spy intelligent type of eavesdropping equipment. So therefore they went to North Korea and they set off the coast beyond the 12-mile limit. They were in what was international waters, except North Korea didn't believe into that rule. Okay, so they thought they were being spied upon. They sent out some gunboats just before dawn, and they raided the Pueblo in a season search rescue mission, where one man died, the radio operator, and the rest of the crew was captured and hauled off to somewhere in North Vietnam or North Korea for interrogation and whatnot. So there was another one. What was it, USS James? I think it was. It was a sister ship to the Pueblo, but they had two of them in operational. But at that time, the USS Pueblo was up there. So we was gathering, you know, intelligence for our government at the time. I don't know, can't remember if we were having trouble with North Korea at that time. Okay.
All right, sir. Could you describe to us a little bit of your duties while you were on board, sir?
I was a bosun mate. Basically, it's a janitor / handyman type person, you know. If you ever seen the movies and you heard a little whistle go tweet, tweet, or something like that, you know, that was me. I also, I stood the watches. I was also involved in ship-to-ship transfer replenishment, where two ships would come alongside and you transfer lines from one side to the other. And they would hold a steady course going side by side in the water, and they would transfer anything from black oil, aviation gas, bombs, food supplies, the U.S. mail, which was very important, you know. All you guys, you know, you remember that. Mail comes first, yeah. Pay comes second, right?
It's an important time of the month.
Yeah.
I know you said that we understand. Could you explain maybe what that would have been like to be separated from your family and just to receive mail and just those little things that.
Well, unlike the Army and unlike the Marine Corps, picture this: women weren't accepted board ship in those times. Okay, and you be out to sea, your family's at home, and your wife and your kids and whatnot. Your deployment is 6 to 8 months long. The time of duration at sea was approximately 30 to 45 days. The longest time I was at sea without the sight of land or other people was 62 days. Okay? And that's what life is like. Yeah, your family's at home, you're in the Navy. And a lot of times when you pulled into port, you spent 30 days cold iron, which the ship was shut down permanently for 30 days. That's all you had. And then you came back aboard ships and you started training for the next deployment back overseas. And you had to train pilots that had to learn how to land on a postage stamp out in the middle of the ocean, okay? And these pilots were trained to basically be fighter pilots as well as bombers and whatnot, or some of them would run the P-3, which was a cargo plane that turned into a air gas station to refuel the planes in the air, so they can make it back to the ship.
All right. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about when they came home. Did you maybe go through anything like that?
I ran through 2 of them. I was disappointed with the World War II vets. When I came home, the World War II vets were just as bad as the Jane Fonda group, in a sense, because they says, "Oh, you're not a war. You're not in a war. You're just police in action," And we were, had been disrespected by them as much as the college kids that hung around the Pueblo, Colorado area.
Did you experience a lot of that in Pueblo, or?
I probably experienced less than anybody that was on the West Coast, but you run across a few every now and then. Of course, when I got out of the Navy and whatnot, I didn't wear the jackets as I'm a Vietnam veteran or anything like that. I just dressed up like I am, People pretty much left me alone unless somebody recognized me and asked me how the service life was.
And how do you feel about the state-sponsored event, sir, that they put on this weekend?
How do I feel about this? Well, I think it's all right. I think for a lot of people it was fine, and we got to meet new people, and we got to share some good times and some bad times, And, I'm sure everybody like myself, a lot of things we forgot kind of surfaced this weekend, And, but for my best girl here and whatnot, she never was in the military, but she always wanted to be. So, in a sense, she's living the life by hanging around us,
Do you guys have any questions? Do you have anything?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. What was your rank, or how did you come up through the ranks, sir?
Well, when I took and got out of the Navy back in 1970, I was subject to recall because they let us out. It was a reduction in force, and we were still in the Vietnam War, so they said I had to report to the nearest reserve unit, which I did. And the recruiting chief petty officer at the time asked me one question. He says, "If you're recalled, would you like to go back to the Vietnam War as an E1, start all over again, go through boot camp, or would you like to retain your rank as a boatswain 3rd class and go back with your present pay grade?" So I joined the reserves. And through the years and whatnot, some of the officers and some of the people that are appointed over me and whatnot thought I would make a good leader. So they recommended me to the LDO program, which is Limited Duty Officer Program. And I signed up, and I was the one person out of 500 selected for the job. I think somebody cheated, because I'm pretty sure one of those guys knew me, okay? Not sure I would have qualified. But I made lieutenant when I retired, with 27 and a half years in. And I would have stayed for 30, but President Clinton, he decided he wanted to cut back the military that year, okay? We remember him.
Is there anything else you might want to say, sir? Anything?
We, as military members, you too, as well as myself, we are a family. And I get a little emotional on this subject, but there's a lot of people that have never been in the military. They don't understand, but we do. So we're family, and I share with you the same troubles that you went through, and I appreciate you for your duties that you're performing. Okay?
I appreciate that, sir.
Welcome. Yeah.